Consider this. You wake up one morning with a strange sensation, as if reality itself has been altered overnight. Not in some dramatic, apocalyptic way, but subtly, like the world has shifted just slightly out of focus. Your memories feel intact, your body responds as expected, yet there's an unsettling realization creeping in. What if you have been living under an invisible spell all your life? What if the way you think, act, and feel is not truly yours, but the byproduct of something unseen, something designed not to empower, but to control? This is the truth no one wants to admit. Your brain, the very instrument you rely on to perceive reality, is constantly being manipulated, not just by external forces, but by its own hidden mechanisms. You are not as rational, not as free, not as self-directed as you believe. Every decision, every habit, every seemingly independent thought is quietly shaped by algorithms far older and more insidious than any social media feed or corporate marketing campaign. These algorithms are embedded in your neurology, whispered into existence by evolutionary survival strategies and societal conditioning. But here's where it gets disturbing. Your brain doesn't just accept this conditioning, it actively defends it. Like a prisoner who has grown fond of his chains, you unknowingly resist the very truths that could liberate you. The brain is not in the business of truth-seeking. It is in the business of efficiency, of survival, of conserving energy by running familiar patterns. And so, without realizing it, you become trapped inside a self-reinforcing cycle, mistaking comfort for wisdom, routine for reality, and illusion for insight. Imagine that a scientist discovers an ancient manuscript containing techniques that could unlock the full potential of the human mind, methods to sharpen focus, enhance memory, and break free from destructive thought patterns. He dedicates his life to mastering these techniques, testing them in secret. But before he can reveal them to the world, he disappears. His work is lost, buried beneath centuries of misinformation, skepticism, and distraction. The modern world never even realizes it was deprived of something extraordinary. Now, here's the real tragedy. This story isn't fiction. History is littered with forgotten wisdom, hidden truths that, had they been embraced, could have reshaped human civilization. The Stoics understood cognitive reprogramming long before neuroscience gave it a name. The Buddhists mastered mindfulness centuries before Silicon Valley tried to commodify it. Nikola Tesla spoke of tapping into the secrets of the universe, only to have his most radical insights dismissed, buried, or ignored. So, here is the great question. If such knowledge has existed for so long, why do so few people use it? Why do most go through life never realizing that their greatest tool, their own mind, is operating at a fraction of its true potential? Perhaps the answer lies in a chilling paradox. The brain is both the lock and the key, the prisoner and the warden. And most people, whether they know it or not, have been trained to turn the key the wrong way. What if you could rewire your mind to dismantle the limitations placed upon you not by nature, but by years of conditioning? What if you could break the cycle of self-deception and tap into a level of mental clarity and control you never thought possible? That is the journey ahead. But before we can talk about the hacks, before we can even begin to untangle the wires of a lifetime of programming, we must first understand the forces that keep us blind in the first place. And that is where we begin. You are not who you think you are, at least not in the way you assume. The person you identify as you is, in reality, a carefully curated construct, a product of unconscious psychological mechanisms, genetic imperatives, and cultural narratives woven so seamlessly into your psyche that you rarely stop to question them. Carl Jung called it the persona, a mask molded by social expectations, survival instincts, and past experiences. Friedrich Nietzsche warned of herd morality, a force that bends individual will into submission under the weight of collective norms. Arthur Schopenhauer believed that free will itself was an illusion, arguing that we are nothing more than marionettes of unconscious desires and biological drives. And yet, despite their warnings, the illusion persists. Think of the first time you realized Santa Claus wasn't real. That moment of disillusionment wasn't just about a childhood fantasy crumbling. It was an introduction to a deeper, more unsettling truth: that what we accept as reality is often just a story we've been told. But what if that realization didn't stop with fairy tales? What if your very identity, your ambitions, your fears, your beliefs, were all part of a larger fiction written by forces beyond your awareness? Psychologists call this constructivism, the idea that your perception of the world is not an objective reflection of reality, but a mental framework built from past experiences, biases, and social influences. Every assumption you hold, every automatic reaction you experience, is a conditioned response designed to keep you functioning within an inherited system. And like a well-written script, this conditioning is so effective that you never even notice its presence. Take, for example, the way society defines success. From the moment you're born, a path is laid out for you. Do well in school, get a stable job, earn money, build a family, retire comfortably. Deviate from this path, and you face resistance, not just from others, but from your own mind, which has been trained to associate deviation with danger. This is the hidden architect at work, the psychological blueprint that dictates what you value, what you fear, and what you believe to be possible. And here's the dangerous part: because this blueprint is invisible, it is rarely questioned. People live entire lives pursuing goals they never consciously chose, sacrificing joy for security, trading passion for predictability. They mistake external validation for internal fulfillment, not realizing that their deepest desires may not even be their own. Jean-Paul Sartre once wrote, "Man is condemned to be free." But what if the real condemnation is the illusion of freedom? The belief that we are making our own choices when, in reality, we are simply following a script written long before we arrived. To break free, you must first see the cage. And to see the cage, you must be willing to question everything you take for granted. Why do you value what you value? Why do you fear what you fear? Why do you believe what you believe? Only by peeling back these layers can you begin to uncover the hidden architects of your mind, and, more importantly, rewrite the script they have given you. But understanding the blueprint is just the beginning. Next, we will explore how these unseen forces shape not only your thoughts, but your very perception of reality itself, and why escaping their grasp is more urgent than you ever imagined. There is a war raging inside your head, not one of violence or physical force, but of influence. Every moment of every day, forces you cannot see are fighting to shape what you think, how you feel, and what you believe to be true. And the scariest part? You don't even realize it's happening. Imagine walking through a grand illusion, a carefully orchestrated performance where the walls shift just enough to keep you inside. These walls are built from cognitive biases, social conditioning, and neurological shortcuts that have been honed over millennia. They exist to make life easier, to reduce the burden of endless choices. But in doing so, they also control you. One of the most potent weapons in this unseen war is the confirmation bias. This is the tendency to seek out, interpret, and remember information that confirms your existing beliefs, while ignoring or dismissing anything that contradicts them. It's the mental equivalent of wearing blinders, selectively filtering reality to fit your preconceived notions. This bias doesn't just distort your perception, it actively reinforces it, creating a self-sustaining loop of delusion. Then there's the availability heuristic, a mental shortcut that leads you to overestimate the likelihood of events that are easily recalled from memory. If you've seen a dramatic news report about a plane crash, you might suddenly fear flying, even though statistically, driving is far more dangerous. This heuristic exploits the vividness of certain memories, making them seem more probable than they actually are. And let's not forget social proof, the tendency to conform to the actions and beliefs of others. If everyone around you is doing something, you're more likely to do it too, even if you have doubts. This instinct, deeply rooted in our evolutionary past, is exploited by marketers, politicians, and social influencers alike, who understand that the easiest way to control behavior is to make people believe they are simply following the crowd. These are just a few of the invisible soldiers in this war for your mind. They work in concert, creating a psychological fortress that traps you in a cycle of predictable responses and limited perspectives. The result? You become a passive participant in your own life, reacting to external stimuli rather than actively shaping your destiny. To break free, you must become a conscious observer of your own mind. You must learn to recognize these biases and heuristics, to see them for what they are: tools of manipulation, not windows to truth. This requires a radical shift in perspective, a willingness to question everything you think you know, to challenge every assumption, to step outside the comfort zone of your own beliefs. Here are some initial steps to begin this process. Mindfulness meditation. Practice observing your thoughts and feelings without judgment. This creates space between you and your automatic reactions, allowing you to see the biases at work. Devil's advocacy. Actively seek out viewpoints that contradict your own. Challenge your beliefs by exploring alternative perspectives. Journaling. Document your thought patterns and decision-making processes. Look for recurring biases and patterns of irrationality. Information diet. Curate your media consumption. Limit your exposure to sensationalized news and social media echo chambers. This is the beginning of reclaiming your mental sovereignty, a journey of deprogramming and self-discovery. The war for your mind is real, but it is not unwinnable. By understanding the tactics of your adversaries, you can begin to dismantle their control and reclaim your cognitive freedom. Understanding the architects and the war being waged is vital, but knowledge without action is impotent. The next step is to begin the process of rewiring your neural pathways, to literally reshape the physical structure of your brain. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections throughout life, is the key. This means that your mind is not a fixed entity, but a dynamic system that can be molded and transformed through deliberate effort. The first principle of rewiring is repetition. Just as a path worn by constant footsteps becomes a well-defined trail, repeated thoughts and actions strengthen neural pathways. To break old habits and establish new ones, you must consistently engage in the desired behavior. Consider the power of mental rehearsal. Studies have shown that visualizing an action can activate the same neural pathways as actually performing it. By vividly imagining yourself achieving your goals, overcoming obstacles, and embodying the qualities you desire, you can prime your brain for success. Another powerful tool is emotional tagging. The brain prioritizes experiences that are associated with strong emotions. By connecting positive emotions to desired behaviors and negative emotions to undesirable ones, you can create powerful incentives for change. Here are specific exercises to implement these principles. Affirmations. Create positive statements that reflect your desired state and repeat them daily. Focus on affirmations that address the specific limitations you want to overcome. Visualization. Exercises. Dedicate time each day to visualize your ideal future. Imagine yourself living with clarity, focus, and control. Habit stacking. Link new habits to existing ones. For example, after you brush your teeth, practice mindfulness meditation for 5 minutes. Cognitive reframing. When you encounter negative thoughts, challenge their validity and reframe them in a more positive light. Instead of, "I can't do this," try, "I can learn to do this." The process of rewiring your brain is not instantaneous. It requires patience, persistence, and a willingness to embrace discomfort. But the rewards are profound. Increased mental clarity, enhanced cognitive function, and a greater sense of control over your own destiny. The culmination of this journey is the liberation of self, the realization that you are not defined by your past conditioning, your limiting beliefs, or your automatic reactions. You are the architect of your own mind, the author of your own story. This liberation is not a destination, but a continuous process of self-discovery and self-mastery. It involves cultivating a deep sense of self-awareness, a willingness to embrace vulnerability, and the courage to live authentically. Friedrich Nietzsche's warning: "He who fights with monsters should look to it that he himself does not become a monster." To achieve this state, first you must use awareness as a scalpel, not a weapon. Your goal isn't to dominate others, but to render yourself immune to domination. Tactics. A. Silent sabotage. When pressured to conform, smile and nod, then do exactly what you deem right. B. Information. Asymmetry. Study human bias, but never reveal your full hand. Let others underestimate you. C. Stoic detachment. Care deeply, but never need. The moment you're emotionally dependent, you're controllable. Aldous Huxley foresaw a world distracted into submission. Your defense? Employ hack number 2. Curate inputs. Eliminate cheap dopamine, endless scrolling, outrage news. Replace with deliberate, high-value content. Hack number 3. Cognitive quarantine. Regularly spend 24+ hours in total silence. No media, no people, no stimulation. Reset susceptibility to programming. Number 4. Daily debrief. Each night, replay key decisions. Ask, what hidden forces influence this? Number 5. Pattern, interrupt. When emotions hijack you, freeze. Say aloud, this is a program running. I choose to exit. 6. Future self-arbitration. Before acting, ask, will my future self admire this choice or pity it? 7. We must cultivate emotional intelligence. This involves understanding and managing your own emotions, as well as recognizing and empathizing with the emotions of others. Emotional intelligence allows you to navigate complex social interactions with grace and resilience. 8. Purposeful living is another crucial aspect of self-liberation. By aligning your actions with your values and pursuing goals that are meaningful to you, you create a sense of fulfillment and direction. Here are practices that foster self-liberation. Values, clarification. Identify your core values and use them as a compass to guide your decisions. Gratitude, practice. Cultivate a daily practice of gratitude, focusing on the positive aspects of your life. Authentic expression. Express your thoughts and feelings honestly and openly, even when it feels uncomfortable. Service to others. Find ways to contribute to the well-being of others, as this fosters a sense of connection and purpose. The journey to liberate yourself is not about escaping reality, but about embracing it fully, with clarity, intention, and courage. By rewiring your mind and reclaiming your cognitive sovereignty, you can create a life that is truly your own. The final warning. This path isolates before it empowers. You'll see through games others play, but lose the ability to enjoy them. You'll crave truth in a world built on fairy tales. There's no going back. But for those willing to pay the price, you'll gain the only freedom that matters, the freedom to choose your chains or to break them.
Thank you for watching this video. I hope it was insightful and educative. If you like this video, do well to click like, share, and subscribe for more insightful videos like this. See you later. Bye.